Hi everybody, welcome to a new video. Today we have the review of the Proximity EQ Plus by Sonable. Now generally it's a pretty pricey plugin. It goes from around $130, but Plugin Boutique right now does have a special going on to where if you buy any plugin, even if it's $1, you actually get it completely for free. Now I did not pay $1, I paid a little bit more than that one because I was buying a completely different other plugin, which I might review in the future, this Scalar, but I know that a lot of other people have already done that one, so I don't really want to reinvent the wheel with that. Now Proximity EQ is going to be a depth plugin. So imagine if my hand is the drum, right? And this is how far that I am from it. What Proximity does is, it's not exactly like Reverb. Reverb does the entire room, but this is basically just taking the listener to a different point of view from the instrument that it's currently affecting. So without further ado, let's go check it out. Okay, so this is the Proximity EQ Plus. Right now we're just gonna go and take a look at my first piano that I have. Okay, so that's gonna be, it's hitting a little bit too hard for me, so I want to kind of draw it back a little bit, not too much, and there's a certain resonance in there that's kind of bugging me. It's the really high note that just sounds a little bit jarring, and it sounds out of place. So let me just go ahead and load up the Proximity EQ. Alright, so to give it a little bit more softer of an attack and not quite as blunt, we're gonna go and try and we're gonna listen to it and see what we can do with this Proximity knob right here. Okay, but as you can see, the more that I lower this band, the lower the volume gets. So I want to try and find a sweet spot. I'll stay around right there. I still want it to hit, just not quite as hard. Then alright, so first of all, let's go ahead and see what it sounds like where the dB is at without the plugin. Alright, so it looks like it's getting a max of about, let's say like 17 and 16.5 dB. So you want to try and get the same volume with the effect. And all we have to do for that is raise the master a little bit. So maybe like 2.7 maybe? A little bit higher. That should be about good. It's close enough. And the strength knob, if you go and highlight, if you go ahead and hover over the knob, it'll tell you what it does. It says that lower values below 50% lead to a wider transition range between different signal parts. So that might give it a more natural sound, and anything above 50% has a harder separation and can be used to get a more distinct result. So if you really want your pianos to hit super hard, or even your drums, this would be the knob to use. Now let's go and try and find a sweet spot for this. Alright. And the smoothing, values under 50% may be used to reduce the amount of smoothing during what computation? Sure, that. And then values above 50% increase the amount of smoothing during computation and may lead to a more natural sound but less distinct. So since we turned up this a little bit, I want to actually get a little bit more natural of a sound, so I'm going to really boost this one. Alright, so it's about 83%. And we're at about the same volume that we had before we used the plugin, so we're not lowering it at all. And this plugin is still an equalizer, so we can still try and get rid of some of the sounds that we don't want. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Now, one other really neat thing that you can do is, if there's a frequency or a certain resonance that you don't want to hear. Usually you could use the EQ and then just completely put this down, right? Make it a little bit more narrow. So I want there's a really high note that I want to try and take out. I'm gonna try and find it really quickly. It's right there. Can you hear it's not quite, the high note is not quite as jarring? And great, so it's lowered, perfect, but the only problem is it sacrifices a lot of the overall sound, and that's not what we want to go for. So one thing that we can do is put that back. And then this knob right here, this is the, wait for it to highlight, the proximity filter. Click on that, and now just because it was in this range before, doesn't mean it's going to be in the last one. So now instead of actually doing the actual whole EQ, we're just doing the proximity. So you're not just stuck in one plane, you can actually go above that as well. Okay, and now as you can see, we lowered, I don't say we got rid of it completely, but we lowered the frequency that was kind of hitting our ear wrong, and we still have all of the other dynamics from the entire sound. So let's hear what we did beforehand. This is the original. And this is it with the proximity EQ. And that can be used in other things as well. Like for example, in flutes, I don't like how there's a really airy sound in it. This is going to work out really well in getting rid of that. And now we're going to listen to the other piano that I have. And on here, I really wanted to really alter the sound. So what I did is I put the proximity all the way to -100, strength 100, and smoothing kept it at 0, but it really lowered the volume, so I had to put it up by 10.9 dB. So this was the original sound. And then this is the parametric. I want to keep calling it the parametric EQ too, because that's what I've been using for the past 6 months, so it's kind of stuck in my head still. But this is the proximity EQ. Okay, and if you guys are hearing like some crackling in the background, this is really making my CPU go crazy. Like, look at this. For some reason, this plugin really uses a lot of CPU, and you could also use this on the drums as well, which is actually what I like to use it for the most. To give, you know, when you're at a concert, there's a lot of open space, you know, that he's not playing it directly into your ear. So I wanted to try and back it up a little bit and see what I could do with that. So here's the sound beforehand. This is my drum bus. Alright, and this is it with the proximity turned on. Alright, very slight changes that I feel really add a little bit more depth to it. The whole point of this plugin is going to be to add depth to your tracks and not just have it be completely up close. Okay, and finally I put one last proximity EQ on the master for the instruments. This is how it sounded normally. And with it on, it gives it that more like atmospheric feeling to it. That's my dog downstairs. Hope you guys can hear her. Okay, let's go ahead and hear the comparison with and without the EQ. Okay, so pros and cons of this plugin. Pro number one, it does do the proximity is absolutely amazing. I think it does a lot that I've never seen before. And I thought if it was just for the proximity part of it, I would be sold and get it either way, just for that. The fact that it has an EQ is just a plus. Pro number two, that I love when companies are willing to work with other companies to try and push their product even further. And it seems like they're really trying to do that, because on Plugin Boutique right now, I actually got this for free. I was buying a different plugin and I just randomly found that this was a free gift that they were offering. So that's pretty great. Okay, con one. The price point for this is originally I want to say $130, somewhere ballpark around there. And that's, I don't know if it's exactly worth it for that much. You know, the proximity is really neat and is really cool, but I don't know if it's $130 cool, or even $100 cool. Con number two is the CPU. Like, yes, I do have a lot of instances of this running in one track, but I mean, I use so many more parametric EQ. I use it on every single track, every single mixer track. So I don't think this is going to be one that you should be doing for that. I don't think you should have anything more than 2 or 3 for this. I mean, my CPU is going crazy. In fact, you can probably see and hear the input delay from when I'm hitting the start button and it's actually playing. Watch this. There's like a solid 0.5 seconds before it actually starts playing. And con number three, the EQ. I haven't really messed around with the EQ side of it too much, but it doesn't really seem like it's anything too groundbreaking. I would probably still stick to parametric EQ 2, or something that's not real, that's a little bit more in depth when it comes to the EQ. Like this, yes, this basically does do everything that the parametric does, but parametric does it so much better. So at the end of the day, am I going to spend $130 to pay for this plugin? Probably not. I'm not gonna lie to you, and yes, one of it is because I'm not making any money off of this yet, but I am all for investing, and I don't think this would be a very worthy investment for the price. But if the ad is still going on Plugin Boutique for you can get a $1 plugin and then get this $130 plugin for free, absolutely go for it. It is definitely worth that. It's definitely worth free, or even $1. I paid $50 for this one because the plugin that I bought was Scalar, and that was about $50, and I am not mad. This is a very good bonus. Alright everyone, that's going to be just about it. Let me know what you guys thought of the plugin, if you guys are going to go get it, or if you guys already got it through the free ad that's going on right now. I really like it. As much as, like, yeah, there's a whole lot of cons about it, I think that the pros still are pretty nice with it. So let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below, and I'll try and get back to as many as I can. Thank you guys, have a great day. Later.